Hi everyone, I am Behzad Hussain and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss the practical implementation of structured data schema markup in JSON LD format. In the previous session, we have discussed the basics of schema markup, what is the schema markup and what are the reasons why we need to implement schema markup and why search engines love schema markup and what are the needs and what are the benefits of implementing schema markup. So in today's session, we are going to discuss the practical implementation, how to implement structured data schema markup on your website, and how to take help from schema.org, that is the sole authority and the source hub where everything related to schema markup will be found, and we will take help from this website time to time, and then we will validate from its validator tool. And another validation tool we have from Google, that is rich results test. So we will discuss all these information, all the practical steps in a step-by-step guide. And if you have not watched the previous video part 1 of this structured data schema markup, you may lose some concepts that are needed.
Hi everyone,
here in
welcome
the
to my
previous
YouTube
session.
channel. I am Behzad Hussain
I
and
discussed
today
the schema
we are
markup
with two
basics
other
along
experts
with
and today
Manpreet
we are
Singh
going to
and
discuss
Kahuna
schema
Chauhan,
markup structured data in
two amazing
detail.
guys from
In this
Chorus Private
session we
Community
have with
who are
us
also expert in
Kahuna
topical
Chauhan.
map,
He is
content
from
brief,
India.
semantic
Hi
content
Kahuna,
writing,
welcome to our
and the
session.
Chorus
And we
framework.
have
Thank you for inviting
So
me.
yes, nice to
let's
have you here with
start
us.
now for this session. So here we go with the practical guide. You have basic understanding and the foundation from the previous session. Now we are going straight to the practical step. I have divided the whole implementation phase in various steps. So step 1 is choose your format. So the main thing is your format. So in which format you are going to implement structured data. As we have discussed in the previous session, that we have 3 formats to implement schema markup. First one is JSON LD, second one is microdata, and third one is RDF format. And here, as Google also recommends, we will focus only on JSON LD format. That is the most recommended and the most easiest format to implement the structured data schema markup. So here we will choose this format, JSON LD, and here we have 2 basic concepts. Always we start with context. So what is the reason why we need to start with context? Because we will wrap this schema markup in a new language other than HTML on our page. So at the backend of our page, we will wrap this schema markup language, the whole code, in an other language with this script tag application plus LD plus JSON, and then we will start with this curly bracket and then context. So all the vocabulary, whatever we are going to discuss here, whatever schema types and whatever schema properties we are going to provide in this language, all will be processed in the context of schema.org. That is this website, schema.org. It is providing the agreed upon or fixed attributes or fixed schema types and properties. So based on all this vocabulary, whatever has been provided by this schema.org website will be elaborated in our schema markup code. We will discuss each step one by one, and then I will show the practical implementation along the way. And then after context, second thing is type. So what is the schema type that we are going to elaborate, or you can say that we are going to mark up in our code? The type specifies what kind of thing we are describing. The properties that follow provide the details. And here this word thing is the important one to understand. So what is thing? Let's learn about thing from this schema.org vocabulary. The most generic type of item. So whatever item we are going to describe, or whatever item we are going to elaborate in our schema code, will start with a particular type of this thing. So here details are given: action, biochemistry, creative work, intangible, organization, person, place, product. So everything starts with schema type thing. So we will start discussing every detail from this thing. So we will be picking one of the particular type of this schema type thing. Let's move forward. So here in this example, we are starting with the person entity. Person entity we are going to elaborate. So first context, and then type, and then name. Here let's discuss some basics. Whenever you start anything, you need to put it in inverted commas, and then context and type and then ID. These three things are started always with inverted commas. And all these things that I have mentioned, what is this? Context, then type, then ID. All these three things start with notation at the rate. And we wrap each of these in inverted commas, then colon, then inverted commas, and here we will write that we are going to provide all the vocabulary in the context of schema.org website. If you forget to add this context, your whole code is wasted. Your whole efforts are wasted, because first you need to clarify the context, and then you will start everything from context elaboration. And then we need to specify which schema type we are going to elaborate in this code. So we need type attribute or type for schema particular type. Identify your content types. So we have step 2, identify your content types. You need to understand what sort of user intent your page is going to respond, what user intents, what context your web page is going to answer or going to respond. Or you can say, in other words, what is the macro context of your web document? Either it is a commercial page, a product page, or a service page, or it is an informational blog page or article, or whatever is it. Does it need any specific search action or any specific web page action like calculator, or either it is a location page, local business about page, or an organization about page? So there are multiple types of content or web pages that you need to select. Walk through your website and categorize the content you have. So common types of in schema markup include organization, person, product, article, local business, event, recipe, FAQ, and review. These are the examples of most prominent schema types. Remember, each schema type has its own particular schema vocabulary for schema properties. Start with your most important pages, typically your home page, about page, and key landing pages. Then there is an example of organization schema. So let's start with home page. So we are going to discuss organization schema. Before starting, we need to understand what is organization schema and what is the schema properties vocabulary on this schema.org. So spelling mistake, it will autocorrect. So we have found organization schema. We will discuss. It is a schema.org type. Okay, an organization such as a school, NGO, corporation, club, etc. So we have particular properties. Now I am going to explain each schema property available to us that can be used under this schema type organization. I will explain the schema properties only in this organization schema type. Afterwards, I will not explain these properties. We will just discuss the practical thing. Accepted payment method. And one thing also I explained to you in the last session, schema type. Always first alphabet or letter capital, and schema property always first alphabet or letter will be small. So each schema type will be started with a capital letter like organization, and in the URL also the first alphabet or letter will be capital. And schema properties, that are the attributes of our particular entity, all the schema properties always start with a small letter followed by the capital letter for each word in the schema property name without any space. So it is simple. Accepted payment method. So the organization or business receiving methods, payment receiving methods, accepted payment method without space. Let's discuss the most common properties and then I will explain all of these properties to you, and then we will see how we can expand these properties. So here we go, context and then organization, then name is Sunrise Bakery. Let's assume this example. This is an organization that offers some sort of products and its name is Sunrise Bakery. Then its URL, website URL, then logo URL, then contact point, telephone, contact type. Next item, step 4, add local business schema. So here we go, address, agent interaction statistics. On this schema.org we have property. So this extreme left column explains the properties that we can use for this particular schema type, and then expected type. What type of information is expected for this property? For example, we have this address property, expected type. So what type of information? Either type of information or schema type. So here we have two options for address, and other schema type will be nested under this address property, postal address or text. And whenever we have text option, we can directly write text in front of this property. And then we have description. For example, for address we have description, physical address of the item. So organization is a business. If this business has a specific location to serve its target audience, then we need to provide its physical address. Aggregate rating, alumni, area served, the geographic area where a service or offered item is provided. Supersedes service area. Whenever you find this word supersedes, it shows that previously there was an other attribute or an other schema property to demonstrate this information, but now that is not used. Supersedes service area. So before it was service area, now they have new property, new attribute, area served. For this area served property, either you will provide direct text or a place schema type or geoshape or administrative area schema type. All of these are different technically, so we will discuss in local organization schema markup how to use and when to use each of this item. Then award and award won by or for this item supersedes awards. So this schema property shows if your organization has won any award, this will be mentioned in this under this property. Then brand, the brand or brands associated with the product or service or the brands maintained by an organization or business person. So this way, these are the at the extreme left column we have schema properties that can be used to elaborate the properties of an organization. This way, the most technical part in the schema markup implementation is to understand these schema properties and evaluate and observe what type of information we need to provide to search engine and which schema property is the most suitable or the most relevant to demonstrate that information. For each schema type, you will see a long list of schema properties that are available to you for elaboration of your entity. So every time you need to understand what is the allowed vocabulary, what information you need to provide to search engines through your schema markup code, and what vocabulary is available to us to demonstrate or to label the information provided on a web page. All these schema properties are here and we will see what information we have with us about that organization and which property we need to respond to that available information about that organization. On this page, let me show you another thing. Some properties are specific to this particular schema type, like organization, properties from organization. So these are the following list is a specific list of schema properties for organization. When this list ends, we have another list that shows properties from thing. So in a lexical relation, organization is a sub part of schema type thing. So on each schema type page, you have two types of schema properties. Let me create a document file and we will write these small nuances on this document so that we can mention the important concepts or things on this page. On each schema type, we have four types of information. For each schema type, We have 4 types of information. Number 1 is specific schema properties. For that schema type, then general schema properties for the parent schema type. For example, here we are discussing organization schema. So organization schema is a particular schema type that we are discussing, and then the parent type thing. And I think almost every page contains this section, general schema properties for the parent schema type, and the parent schema type is always thing. So you will find this information. And then third type of information available on each schema type is instances, where this particular schema type can be used, and then examples. We have seen the first two. Let me show you the third one. Properties from thing. The thing is a parent schema type, so these are the generic items that will be available for each schema type. And then instances of this particular schema organization may appear as a value for the following properties. Value for the following properties. So which are the properties that can use this organization schema type to elaborate the information? So here we have instance can be used under a schema property. And then the fourth item is examples. No, fourth time is more specific types. Okay, let us mention this one. More specific schema types, if any. So here organization schema is a broader or generic business elaboration, or you can say business representation. Then there are specific schema types that can be used on your page. If you have any of these, airline business will not use organization schema. They will mention organization as airline. Then cooperative, and one of these is local business. Then medical organization, NGO, news media organization, online business like e-commerce stores, sports organization, workers union. And then fifth and the last item is examples. The most prominent schema properties of a schema type are elaborated here in an example format. So we have all these information when we are utilizing JSON LD format. So you will consider this example in JSON LD format. So here they have given example of the schema markup. We are here in step 4, that is local business. So in local business there are particular schema markup types or schema markup properties that are needed, and one of that is address. When we elaborate address on a schema markup type, we need to demonstrate it with a particular schema type, that is postal address, because our audience needs to visit our physical location for local businesses. So Google needs this schema property to show the address to the target audience. So schema type is postal address, street address, then address locality, address region, postal code, then geo property, geo coordinates, latitude, longitude, and then opening hours, because audience has to visit your physical place, physical business place. So you need to provide information about what is the official timing of your business, and then telephone number for contact. The address is broken down into components which help search engines understand the geographical hierarchy. You are on the main street in Springfield, in Illinois, in the United States. The geo coordinates pinpoint your exact location on a map. So we are basically communicating with search engines. Some information will be utilized to present rich results, and some information or some schema properties are just there to communicate with search engines, to explain who we are, what we do, and to whom we serve. So this is the main thing for each business. Then we have step 5, validate your markup. So whatever schema markup you create, you need to validate with two tools. One is the validator, schema markup validator. If you have published the schema markup, you can put your URL here, and if not, then you will provide your code snippet. So we have provided this code snippet. We will run test, and here is the rich results. If this is a schema type for our property for which search engine shows the rich results, then this page will show the information. Testing the code. Validator is faster to show. So here is the particular representation from validator tool from schema.org organization. So here the heading, the schema type, the main schema type is shown as the heading, then type, name, URL, logo, contact point. So this is the whole information that we have marked up in this specific schema JSON old format schema markup language. And if there is any severe error or wrong placement of any schema property, it will show errors. And if there is any format issue or any other missing item, it will show warning. And let me show you the importance of one comma. If you forget to add one comma here after URL, I am removing the comma. You can observe the color of this code will change. After removing the comma, the schema properties font color that should be black, it has converted to red. You can see logo, contact point, and when I add a comma, it will be black again. So let's assume I have forgot to add comma at the end of one schema property. So the comma notation, the comma are from English punctuation. It is a notation to show the completeness of one schema properties information. If you forget to add comma, what will happen? I remove the comma, and then I asked the tool to validate uncategorized errors. Whenever you have uncategorized errors, these are due to three reasons. Either you have forgot to add comma, or you have forgot to add apostrophe or inverted commas, not apostrophe, inverted commas, or you have missed or skipped or added extra bracket. So these things are the gateways about the schema markup. This is the most common error. I will explain all these errors or mistakes in its relevant point in my guide. So here missing either comma or bracket in object declaration. Let's add comma here at the right place and then validate. So here we go, no issue found. Let's assume we have forgot to add inverted commas. What will happen? Again, the schema properties has been turned to red. Validator, uncategorized errors, missing comma or bracket in object declaration. So each property is an object, each value is an information, is an object provided to the search engines with the help of this code. Let's move forward. Validate your markup. So let us see rich results test. So organization schema found by search engines. Google has found this organization schema. So it will show the detail in this format. Detected items, Sunrise Bakery is the name. So what are the details for this organization type? So all the information that we have marked up in this schema markup code has been represented in this format. Let's move to the next point. So part 1 was the introduction about implementation, basic schema markup implementation. We have completed this part 1. Now let's move forward to part 2, that is intermediate level schema implementation. Implement article schema. For blog posts, news articles, or any written content, article schema helps search engines understand publication details, authorship, and content structure. Before starting any schema markup, it is recommended to see the schema type details from the schema.org. This step is only for initial implementation. If you have experience, if you have sufficient experience, then you might not need to see what properties are available to mark up an web page that is an article. So article body, article section, backstory, page end, page start. If you want to show the numbering, pagination, speakable, word count of the article or book, creative work, about, access mode. So all these are the properties available here. Let us see an example. More specific types: advertiser content article, news article, report, satirical articles, scholarly articles, social media posting, tech article. So these are the specific types. Here are the examples. No markup. So here is the information that will help you understand what is the information and how we are going to mark up this information. How to tie a reef knot by John Doe. John Doe is an author here. So the main title of this article is how to tie a reef knot. This article has been tweeted 1203 times and contains 78 user comments. Let us see its schema markup. Context. Okay, schema.org context. Schema type is article. Author is John Doe. Then interaction statistics. For this property, we need schema type interaction counter to elaborate the information. For this interaction counter, we have first property interaction service. To explain this interaction service, we need to explain where we are getting interaction. So we need to specify schema type, that is website, and the website name is Twitter. Its URL is this. Interaction type is share action, and user interaction count 1203 people has shared this piece of content, that is article. So in this way we are optimizing our semantic triples. I will elaborate this concept in the upcoming session, in the upcoming content section. And then another schema type that we are mentioning under this interaction type, no, interaction service. Interaction counter. Interaction type is comment action, then user count 78, and the name of article is how to tie a reef knot. Let us see another example. A JSON example for an article about a particular event. So one article is here about a particular event. So schema type is article, name of article, Apple announces iPhone SE, then description, new iPhone announced at 11:30 in California, then about. This article is about this event, schema type event, and name is Apple's March 21 announcements. Content reference time is this. And we have example here, article, headline is this, image this URL, then author is schema type person, name Emily Rodriguez, URL of author page of this URL on this website, Sunrise Bakery, and then publisher is organization, organization's name is Sunrise Bakery, organization's logo is image object, URL this one, date published, date modified. Notice how we are building relationships. The article has an author and a publisher. Each of these nested types has their own properties. This creates what we call a semantic graph of interconnected information. So search engine has its own knowledge graph, and we are creating our internal knowledge graph with the help of entities connections and entity attribute connection optimization. Then our next step is add product schema. If you have a product, for any products or services you sell, product schema communicates pricing, availability, and reviews. And this is the most prominent schema type in the schema.org vocabulary, because search engine also shows rich snippets for products. So here we have schema type product, product name artisan sourdough loaf, then image URL of this product, then description of this product, then brand. So what is the brand of this product? Sunrise Bakery, organization name, and then offers. Offers is a property that provides the price. Offers, what is the offer? Schema type offer will explain this property. Price is 8.99, price currency US dollar, availability in stock, and then URL of this product. So this way we mark up the product. The offers property uses a specific vocabulary item for availability in stock. Let me show you product schema type. What are the available schema properties for a product page? Just a glimpse here for your understanding. Additional property, aggregate rating for reviews, the overall rating based on a collection of reviews or ratings of the item. Then audience, who is the target audience to whom this product is going to be sold. An intended audience, a group for whom something was created. Then award, whether this product has won any award. If yes, you need to mention that award under this schema property award. Then brand is the brand name or organization. Then category, if there is, you need to mention it. Color, if it has to be mentioned. Then colors watch, a color swatch image visualizing the color of a product. If it needs so much detail, you can provide the swatch image visualizing the color of a product. Country of assembling, if it is a manufactured product. Country of last processing, country of origin where it has been manufactured. Depth, distance or qualitative value. Display location, funding, GTIN, product number, GTIN, identification number, has adult consideration, has certification. If your product has any certification, this property is here to demonstrate that certification, like ISO certification or any other thing. Has GSI, digital link, has measurement, height of the product, is related to, is similar to, is variant of. So do you remember canonical tags or canonical URLs? If you have variants of your product, here is the property to demonstrate that information is variant of. So you will mention here the main product group or product model. So you need to mention the product group or product model to demonstrate is variant of property information. Item condition, then keywords that you want to mention for your product, then logo, material. So all these details are available for product schema type. Implement breadcrumb schema. This schema property and schema type are there for web page. So let me show you breadcrumbs. It is a property for web page, and to demonstrate this property we need a breadcrumb list schema type. So let us read about schema property. Whenever you open a page for schema property, first of all it shows a schema.org property, and remember first letter small. In URL too, first letter small. Then description is a set of links that can help a user understand and navigate a website hierarchy. A set of links, so it means we need to provide a set of links or the hierarchy homepage, then any parent page, then sub-parent, then sub-parent, and then the end node. We need to provide the whole hierarchy or the website structure to demonstrate one web page. Values expected to be one of these types. So what type of information will be provided for this property? Here is breadcrumb list. This is the main schema type that will be utilized to explain the information for this breadcrumb schema property. Or text, you directly put the information in text format used on these types. So where this schema property can be used or will be used, so this breadcrumb schema property will only be used for web page schema type. Types means schema types. On this website, sometimes types means the type of information, and sometimes types means schema types. You need to be aware of this whole context. So breadcrumb schema is like this. Let me validate this code so you will be able to understand with more nicer presentation. Let's read this code script. Okay, then context schema.org, then schema type is breadcrumb list, item list element. So first element position is 1, list item, schema type list item, position 1, that is your home page, and item is the home page URL, then schema type list item, then position 2 home/products. So this is the products category page, then item URL, then list item, position is 3rd, name is sourdough bread, and then you have items URL. So here you can see, let me zoom out. This one, position 1, name is home page, item type thing, and this URL. So this way, if this page is on the 3rd click, home page is the first, then property page is 2nd, and 3rd hierarchy of this page is like this. The next step is add FAQ schema. If you have frequently asked questions on your page, FAQ schema can get your content displayed directly in search results. By the way, search engine doesn't use these FAQ schema markup for this purpose, but still it is important to convey information to the search engines to show that what are the target audience questions, frequently asked question by audience, and how we are going to answer or respond to our target audience questions. So here context, FAQ page, schema type, then main entity, question name, what is the real question. So question is a schema type. What is the name property? This is the main question. Then accepted answer is a property of this main entity. No, accepted answer is a property of this schema type, that is question. And then the text is this is the real answer. And then second question name, then accepted answer, then the type is answer, and the answer is wrapped under this property text. The relationship structure here is FAQ page. FAQ page contains questions, and each question has an accepted answer, which is an answer type. This explicit structure tells search engines exactly how these elements relate. Now we are moving toward an advanced implementation of schema markup. Part 3, Advanced Schema Markup Strategies. It is a 10th step. Implement nested and combined schema types. As you advance, you will often need to combine multiple schema types on a single page. For instance, a blog post about an event might include both article and event schemas. A product page might include product, review, and offer schemas together. So here is the example. One product schema type has information about name, image, description, then brand, then aggregate rating, then review from one person, review body, and then second item is offers. So here we are adding or nesting multiple schema types within the properties. Like this one, for brand property, we nested schema type in this way. For aggregate rating property, we nested this schema type here. For review property of our product, we nested schema type review here. Then date published schema property, then reviewed body, and then review rating. For review rating schema property, we embedded schema type rating. So this way we need to add information layers in our schema code to elaborate the information with right vocabulary. This creates a rich semantic web around your product. Search engines understand the product itself, its ratings, individual reviews, and purchase information all in one interconnected structure. So we are moving towards step 11, implement entity relationship with ID. So now we are moving toward more advanced layer in our schema markup implementation, and this is step 11, implement entity relationships with ID. Now this is going to be a bit technical. Now let me explain it separately. So here we have a schema code. It is disturbing the format. Let me show you in class schema interface. So when we are going to discuss a particular schema type, here is an ID or identification for this particular schema type. Whenever you have a schema type that will be repeatedly used on this page or another page, on another page schema code, we need to give it a particular ID that can be used anywhere else. So you can understand this concept by remembering the jump links. In WordPress we have jump links, so you can move to another section with just mentioning the CSS code or the CSS element name of that particular section. So here in our multiple schema types we mention ID. For example, here we have schema type organization, name is Sunrise Bakery, so here we need to mention its ID. For ID you can mention the full URL. The normal practice is this: you mention that page's URL, and after that you mention hashtag, and then you put a particular identification word that you need to remember while putting schema markups on other pages, because you have to cross reference this schema type with the help of that ID. And if you forgot that ID, that's a loss for you. So here for the simplest we can name it organization. So whenever we need organization schema afterwards in our code, we will just mention this ID there. No need to mention the whole schema markup. Machines will connect it. Machines will see it as a single unit, and then they will read the whole organization schema information from the code. One thing to discuss here is ID, and you can see it is in white color and there is some problem. We need to put inverted commas and then comma. So now all of these things are green. Let's validate it. So organization Sunrise Bakery, its contact point is contact point that we have given. So we have mentioned only two properties here. Before using these IDs, and if you want to connect your schema types with IDs, you need to mention graph property. You need to add graph in your schema code. We will discuss it later. And then example, the ID acts as a unique identifier. When search engines see the same ID across multiple pages, they understand these references point to the same real world entity. This builds a knowledge graph about your website and business. This ID is the one of the most important concept identification of a schema type, because you internal link your code within that code. So you internal link your schema types or your entities in your schema markup. This helps you build a knowledge graph of entities and their attributes. Now step 12, create schema for complex hierarchies. For organizations with multiple locations, departments, or services, you can create hierarchical relationships using parent organization and sub-organization properties. So this is a complex hierarchy when you have multiple schema types for same organization. Then you can add such properties like parent organization or sub-organization. So this way you combine these things and then implement semantic triples strategically. So it is the most important concept. And do you know what are the semantic triples? Semantic triples are the subject, predicate, object. This is a simple English sentence structure. That is our basic English that we need to understand, because search engines want to understand human language and they want to get information in the right sequence, right pattern. If you arrange your information in this semantic triple format, it is the most helpful for your content. So I am recalling the research paper name, that is knowledge based trust from Google. This research paper explains that the information provided in semantic triple formats is the most helpful for search engines, and the number of semantic triples available in a content, or the amount of information provided in semantic triple format, is a quality metric for a website or a web page content. They compare information provided in the semantic triple format among multiple web pages over the internet and mark the highest quality to that information, that web page that is providing information in semantic triple formats. So semantic triples at its core, schema markup creates semantic triples statements in the form of subject, predicate, object. Understanding this helps you structure complex relationships. For example, for each property creates a triple. Organization has property makes offer, and offer has property item offered, and so on. When you think in triples, you can create more precise semantic relationships. So this organization, whose name is Sunrise Bakery, makes offer, and the offer is product, and product name is sourdough bread. So organization has property makes offer, and offer has property item offered, and so on. This way the information is optimized for search engines. Next, step 14, connect to external knowledge bases. Advanced schema implementation includes linking to external knowledge bases like Wikipedia or Wikidata using same as property. This helps establish entity equivalence across the web. So here we are going to explain this person. Entity type, schema type, person, and person is an entity type. Its ID for this website is founder, then name is Maria Santos. For same as property, we will provide the information or the social media pages or the presence of this entity or presence of this person across the internet. All other entity pages for this entity we will provide in same as property. So this is the LinkedIn page for this property, for this entity, or you can say person entity Maria Santos, and this Twitter account of this person, and then Wikidata ID of this person Maria Santos. So this way, this step is called entity disambiguation. For entity elaboration, we don't want search engines to confuse this person with any other same name person or identical person. So we connect our entity with the external databases to show that this person I am explaining, I am mentioning this person, this person has this Facebook account, this person has this LinkedIn account, this person has this Twitter account, this person has this Wikidata page. So by confining the context, by providing more information about our main entity, person entity, we are convincing search engines to understand what we are talking about. We are trying to make sure search engines understand the same what we wanted to understand. This tells search engines that your Maria Santos is the same person as these profiles on other platforms, consolidating knowledge about this entity. So now we have some benefits to discuss about schema markup. So first benefit is information and context clarity. Schema markup removes ambiguity from content. The word apple could mean a fruit or a technology company. Without context, search engines must infer meaning from surrounding text. With schema markup, you explicitly state which meaning applies here. Consider this product description. Our classic apple tree features fresh Granny Smith apples. With schema, you make it absolutely clear. Product name is classic apple tree. Then ingredients, schema type, supply chain, and then supply is schema type, food, name, Granny Smith apples. So with the help of particular properties and schema types, we try to clear the context for search engines. Then the next benefit is supporting semantic web vision. The semantic web vision is about creating a web of data that machines can meaningfully process. Schema markup is your contribution to this larger ecosystem. When you mark up your content, you are not just helping Google understand your website, you are creating structured data that any application and algorithm can consume. So we are, if you remember, things not string announcing knowledge graph, that was 16th May 2012 when Amit Shingal search engines had announced the semantic web vision knowledge graph, and they explained in that blog post, we are now going to understand search engine is now going to understand the meanings of real world things and attributes, entities and their attributes. So we are supporting that vision. We are providing the context for each information that we have provided on our website. Then benefits, entity optimization and knowledge graph integration. When you consistently implement schema with proper entity identification using ID that we have already discussed, you are building your presence in search engine knowledge graphs. Google's knowledge graph, for instance, contains billions of entities and their relationships. By properly marking up your content, you increase the likelihood of your business or website becoming a recognized entity in this graph. And then advanced implementation tips and best practices. Consistency is crucial. Whatever information, if you provide this name in one schema markup, so other ones or all of your website, each page of your website must contain the same name. Implement schema site-wide systematically. It's not a one-time event or one-page necessity. It is a whole website that needs clarity and context for search engines. Make a systematic plan. Make a full strategy. Which pages need which schema type and what properties to elaborate the context of that page. Some pages may need longer schema code and some pages may need shorter version of schema code. Use the most specific schema type available. Don't leave anything generic. Go in as much detail as needed, but don't try to spam schema code. Then implement required and recommended properties. Required and recommended properties are those that search engine needs to show the rich results on the SERP. Then mark up all relevant entities on each page to demonstrate the full context of your page. Create schema templates for content types. For example, for product pages, you can create a schema template and then fill information in all those templates for each page. Monitor schema health regularly. So Google Search Console also shows the schema health. You need to check either there are any information or any discrepancy found by search engine. You need to check and optimize or improve that mistake. Don't mark up content not visible to users. If you have some hidden content on your page, don't mark up in the schema markup. In the last session, I showed you the particular recommendations of Google, what to do and what not to do for schema markup. Keep schema updated. If you update any information on the page, you need to update the backend code too. Layer local SEO with comprehensive schema. So to demonstrate the locality or local signals, local proximity of your business, use geo coordinates, opening hours, review and price range properties, and also link your social profiles with same as property. Use schema to clarify ambiguous content. So sometimes your content is ambiguous for search engines to understand. So you need to make entity disambiguation. You need to elaborate the content through schema markup so that search engines are able to understand the fullest context of your page. Implement schema for relationships between pages. For example, article main schema type is article. It mentions product. Use main entity, related link, and mentions properties. These are the most important entities to connect multiple pages on your website. To optimize to reap the maximum benefits of internal linking, you need to utilize these schema properties. In our next sessions, we are going to individual schema types, for example organization schema type and local organization, and then we will move to product schema markup, and then one by one we will write each line of code by full research, and we will see how AI can help us to write schema code and what information and how we can speed up the process. It's a manual work, but we will figure out how to speed up this schema markup writing process. Test in multiple validators. I have explained it. Document your schema strategy, how you are going to build schema markup for each page on your website. Consider accessibility alongside schema, so it is accessible by search engines. You don't put your schema markup in the footer like some plugins do this bad thing. If you don't check them, then stay current with schema.org updates. If any property or schema type has been updated in the schema.org website, you need to move along. Build schema progressively. You don't need to implement every possible schema type immediately. Start with the basics, ensure they are working well, then add more sophisticated markup over time. So this is the today's session. We have discussed some important and some most important tips and scenarios regarding the schema markup implementation. These are the practical tips to implement schema markup. So that's all for today. See you in the next session. Thanks for watching this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. You will learn more about schema markup, and I am going to explain the schema markup for each schema type with the fullest details. Don't forget to subscribe and get notification of all these videos. See you in the next session. Bye bye. Thank you.